Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Ohio.
Welcome to the Windy City, the Reds and the Cubs. This series is presented by Chevrolet. Much cooler night tonight in the friendly confines, but a pleasant night nonetheless. And we welcome you to Wrigley Field for the decisive game of this three-game series. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. What a start. What a start for Joey Votto, at least through a little more than a week. He looks like the Joey Votto we saw going back to 10, 11, and 12. A crate full of hits already.
Yes, he does. I tell you, coming into spring training, slowly but surely, you could really start to see the agility of Votto. You could start to see the consistent contact. And even early in spring training, really had his eye at the plate. Now, everyone thought, well, he'll come into the season, he'll be building up a lot of walks. He may have some walks, but what he's really done, he has hammered the baseball. And even with 2 strikes, he has been able to choke up on the bat and still make consistent contact and drive the baseball. That's the reason he's driving this offense.
It's been exciting to watch. Reds trying to make it 2 series wins through their front 3 here in 2015. Jason Marquis beat Travis Wood. Jim Day has more on that. When we return, you're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Robinson Day, April 15th, 2015. Every player on the field today will be wearing Jackie Robinson's number 42, and he is our T-Mobile game changer, and oh, did he change things. You look at the numbers, Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player, but these numbers pale in comparison to the very simple sentence, Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey changed America, and that is not a stretch. As we go upstairs to the boys that will call the game, Tom Brenneman, Cowboy, Jeff Brantley.
All righty, Jim Day, thank you so much, and a happy Jackie Robinson Day to you, Cowboy.
And to you as well, my friend.
The former Red Travis Wood on the mound tonight for the Cubbies. First pitch swinging Billy Hamilton, and this one is underway. Wood lost his first start. 4 2/3 innings, allowed 7 hits and 3 runs. That was in Colorado. Then the Cubs got on a 3-game winning streak before the Reds were able to hang on. And, brother, I mean hang on last night.
You look at Travis Wood and his appearances against the Reds over the years since the trade that brought Sean Marshall to the Reds and sent Travis Wood to the Cubs. He's thrown the ball very well against the Reds. But win totals, not so much.
45 degrees at game temperature. That wind is really coming in off of Lake Michigan out of the northeast. And that tends to be a chilly wind. I don't know if Billy Hamilton lost count, apparently not, but he tried to lay down a 2-strike bunt.
Tried to push it to the right side with 2 strikes and didn't quite get the barrel to it.
Take a look at the Reds lineup brought to you by Meyer. Votto coming up, followed by Frazier. Then Phillips third and Bruce in the middle. Good series for Bird and Bruce. Both swinging the bat much better. In the latter third, again, Pena for the injured Devin Mesoraco, Zach Cozart, and Jason Marquis.
I think if you look at the series at home that the Reds had with the Pirates and the Cardinals, most of the offense was created at the top of the order with Hamilton, Votto, and Todd Frazier. Now Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, and as you mentioned, Marlon Byrd starting to center up the baseball with some regularity.
It's the 11th time Travis Wood has faced his original team. He went 11-10 with an ERA barely over 4 in his 2 seasons with the Reds in 2010 and 2011. A 2-5 record against the Reds, despite, as Cowboy mentioned, that sparkling 2.98 ERA. Look at last year, 3 starts in the ERA barely over 1.5. Get a win and a loss in a no decision. Look where the outfielders are playing tonight. It gives you an idea of the wind and the effect on the baseball. This is Joey Votto batting. This is not Billy Hamilton batting.
And you notice it during batting practice, and that's the reason that the outfielders have moved in. Balls were going nowhere in BP, especially if they were out in towards the gaps or in center field.
Strike 3 called, back-to-back strikeouts for Wood.
If you're going to pitch at Wrigley, tonight is the night you want to be doing it. It's cold, the wind is blowing in, and the grass is thick.
Down for Frazier. He has quieted down a little bit here the last 3 games. Still has 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in, down a strike. Frazier hitless in his last 8 at-bats of this series. His first at-bat of the series, he had an RBI double. I don't know, Cowboy. I didn't get a chance to ask you about it. I'm still in a little bit of shock about that Hamilton at bat.
About the bunt?
With 2 strikes.
Well, I think that the Reds, especially Don Long and Brian Price, have basically given Billy the freedom to bunt anytime and every time that he feels he should do it. And Billy said it as much in spring training. There are going to be times that I'm going to bunt, and I may bunt with 2 strikes. But the issue with when you bunt with 2 strikes is you've got to get it in fair territory or you head back to the dugout. It looks great if you get it down, and it looks terrible if you don't. But that's the way it is.
1-2 on Frazier, and we'll do it again. Reds come in having won 5 of their front 8. They could easily be, and I think everybody that saw what happened on Sunday in Cincinnati and on Monday night here, where the Reds had leads late, allowed the opposition to tie the game, and the opposition would eventually win an extra inning. In the air, and it will go to Dye. out there tonight. It'll be a 1-2-3 opening inning for Travis Wood. And now Jason Marquis will try and do the same. USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Can't stop thinking about it. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Red starting lineup. You saw it a moment ago. Now the Cubbies, brought to you by Lexus. Fowler, Rizzo, Soler, Montero to the cleanup spot. Coghlan dropped down to fifth, followed by Castro, Alcantara, the pitcher, batting eighth. They've done that every game this year. And Herrera at second base, bats ninth. Jason Marquis on no decision in his first start as a Red, and it did not start well in that game. He allowed a run, couple of walks, an RBI double in the first, single and a home run to begin the second inning. That one shot down the left field line, and it will roll all the way into the corner. A leadoff double by Dexter Fowler. Marquis then retired 12 batters in a row and got through the sixth inning.
Yeah, I think once Marquis started to get into a rhythm and basically get loose, get a little bit of that early adrenaline out of his system, changeup was working awfully well. It was a big pitch for him, and you have to hope on a night like tonight, cold, wind blowing in, the changeup would be a great pitch.
Here's Anthony Rizzo, the Cub first baseman. Rizzo slow to get started this year for the Cubbies. 5 hits in 21 at-bats. A couple of RBIs. Cubs have already done with one batter tonight what it took them 6 innings to do last night, and that's get a runner at second base. That was against the very impressive Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, he threw the ball really well last night.
7 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. 1-1 on Rizzo. This guy's got major league power, and he finds the seats. And that one clubbed right into the very mouth of the wind.
Well, you could see Jay Bruce going back to the wall and turning every which way but loose, and that baby still got out of here. A high changeup. Not a long way.
That ball in about a month from now might have gone across the street, because that ball was absolutely crushed by Rizzo, his first home run of this season. Well, it took a 2-run home run to really wake up Marquis, as we mentioned, his last start. Take a look at that by Soler.
Think he's cold?
I don't think I've ever seen a player wear a mask like that in probably about 25 years. Because it was in this very ballpark where every player on the field did one day in a game between the Cubs and the Dodgers. Take a look at the Reds' defensive. Brought to you by Ford. Hamilton flanked by the 37-year-old outfielder Marlon Byrd and the right fielder Jay Bruce. Frazier and Votto on the corners. Cozart, Brandon right back in there. Had to leave the game with light-headed deceptor. Starlin Castro fell on top of him in a play on third base. And again, Pena in there for Devin Mesoraco. Reds continue to say there's nothing structurally wrong with Mesoraco. Having said that, they've also not told anybody when Devin might be back.
Well, I think at this point, as it would be with any joint, if it was your elbow or your shoulder or your knee, you were trying to get the inflammation out of the joint. Some guys can take anti-inflammatories or cortisone shot, however you go about doing it, and you can get that inflammation out within 5 to 7 days. Some guys it takes longer. It all depends on what was going on and how long it's been in there.
Swing and a miss by Montero, and since the home run, it's back-to-back strikeouts for Jason Marquis, 2 away in the inning.
Now this is where Marquis wants that changeup. Start that baby middle in. It looks like a fastball. And Montero has hit Marquis awfully well throughout his career. 7 for 20 lifetime with 4 jacks. But you make that kind of pitch, you can make a whole lot of hitters look bad.
2 down for the left fielder Coghlan. Lays down a bunt. Marquis gets over there, slings it high. Bunt hit by Coghlan.
That ball looked like it was going to roll foul. Tell you what, Marquis got to that ball in a hurry and almost made a heck of a play. That's a point in time where you've got to have either Frazier or Brian Pena behind the plate yelling to the pitcher, let the ball go foul. You know you've got Coghlan running. He's got pretty good speed. That ball was put right on the line. The chances of making that play, very slim.
Wrigley Field many years ago used to have the biggest arch
Crown
of any ballpark because they did not have, the most modern drainage systems and that kind of thing. They've overhauled all that, and they've leveled it off a lot more from where it used to be, but there still is a slight crown.
I can remember sitting in the first base dugout and watching Ryan Sandberg go back for a pop-up, and all you could see was from the belt up. That's kind of the view that you got from that low down. It's not that way now, but it almost looked like he was running downhill going after the baseball.
One it goes. Throw by Pena right on the button, and Coghlan gone. Can't do any better than that. But damage done. Rizzo clubs a 2-run home run into the win. 2-0 Chicago.
Brandon Phillips set the lead off this half inning for Cincinnati. After a collision with Starlin Castro last night, he left the game with lightheadedness. But after the game, passed a concussion test. I talked to Brandon last night, and he said it was more of a whiplash thing, not necessarily his head, but more of the neck variety. Brian Price told us before the game that he made out 2 lineups just in case Phillips didn't come through today okay, but he passed another concussion test today, and the final test was batting practice. He came through it all with flying colors, and he says he has no ill effects, and the Reds are better off for that.
Brandon has had one outstanding series. First pitch swinging against Travis Wood, and he's thrown out by Castro. 1 pitch and 1 out. If you weren't with us, we were speculating maybe he took a knee in the back, maybe a knee to the kidney area.
And he may have. Maybe that's what caused the whiplash effect.
But when he came down on top of the back of his head, Phillips became lightheaded, went back in the field, made a diving play, the very first batter of the inning, and then left the game. Marlon Byrd wanted everybody to know today, politely so, that apparently you or me, I don't know who it was.
It was my fault.
Well, one of us called him.
I said he was 38. He's 37.
37. Said, come on now.
I just looked at the date wrong. And I understand. I can remember I was playing. I wanted to make sure they had the youngest date possible when they called out my name.
Wood coming out throwing strikes. First 5 batters of a game, he's thrown the first pitch, strike 2. And when we saw him in Cincinnati, boy, when he threw strikes, he was so good. But then all of a sudden, you go 2, 3, 4, 5 starts, throwing a lot of strikes, and then bam.
Really
5, 6, 7 walks in a game.
Got Cutter happy. That's what that pitch was there. And a lot of times when you throw too many cutters, it takes away from your fastball command. And then all of a sudden you don't have a go-to pitch when you have to have a strike. And that's where things got kind of up and down roller coaster wise for Travis Wood.
Right down the middle of the plate. That one looked like the same pitch that Votto took for strike 3. Look at the Cubbies defense, brought to you by Ford. The only flip-flop from last night, and it is a flip-flop. Alcantara was at second, now he's at third. Herrera was at third, now he's at second. 5 in a row retired by Wood. Steal like one to Jay Bruce.
Jay's got 3 lifetime home runs against Travis Wood.
Jay, 7 hits and 29 at bats, 2 home runs. He has 5 runs batted in, 3 of them in this series. 2-2 on Jay Bruce. Wood and out away from back-to-back perfect frames to begin this Wednesday night. Fouled back out of play. Got away with ball 3 right there. Two again. And again a foul ball back to the screen.
Cubs still play a semi-shift with Alcantara moved over towards the shortstop position. Shortstop Castro playing him up the middle, but we don't see that exaggerated shift with the shortstop on the right field side of second.
Break-even pitch again. And this one in the air into short right field. Down the line goes the second baseman Herrera. Called off by the masked man. Is that Spider-Man? Is that Batman? And we'll be celebrating the 25-year reunion of the 1990 wire-to-wire world champion Reds. Friday the 24th, all fans will take home a commemorative print from that team. As many as 30 of the World Series champs will be honored post-game. We'll have a big fireworks show on the field the following day before the game. The triple bobblehead Nasty Boys giveaway. It's going to be a big weekend. And by the way, that's to the first 25,000 fans.
Triple bobblehead. Solid.
Starlin Castro at the plate when Coghlan was thrown out trying to steal to end the 2-run Chicago first inning, and that's where we stand here in the second. Jason Marquis wanted that call. He did not get it. Ball 4 to Castro. That's Andy Fletcher working behind the plate tonight.
Trying to keep every pitch down and away from Starlin Castro. Evidently, Andy Fletcher thought that one missed underneath the strike zone.
Jordan Baker at first. Jerry Meals at second base tonight. He's a crew chief. Paul Emmel, the umpire, at third. Bunted foul.
For a sinker ball pitcher, as Jason Marquis is, trying to get that feel for a new mound, trying to get the extension on the sinker, the aiming point, so that you can calculate for the drop of the baseball as it gets to the plate. That's kind of a feeling out process in the early going. Not only is the ball moving from right to left, it's also sinking at the same time. You don't want to leave one belt high out over the plate, but yet you don't want to walk the hitters either.
It's funny, your old teammate and our good friend Mike Krukow, former Chicago Cub, and had just an excellent major league career as a pitcher. Runner goes and shot in the left field to hit. Castro will slam on the brakes. First and second, none out here in the Cubs' second inning.
Watch where the pitch is, above the mast. You see the catcher's mitt rise up, which usually means there's going to be some contact. What were you saying about Mike Krukow?
No, but he's just saying on a day like today with the wind blowing in, throw high fastballs, let guys swing as hard as they want. Unless it's Anthony Rizzo.
Well, on a day like today, what you're trying to do is make everybody hit the ball to center field and the other way. And you don't mind giving the ball up into the air, even if the guy has power that way, because of the way the wind's blowing. But Rizzo not only got a pitch up, he was able to pull it. And that was every ounce of power he had to get it out of here.
It's one of those situations where batting the pitcher eighth is a very good thing for the Cubs. That's if your pitcher can bunt. He took a strike all the way the first pitch of the at-bat, and now behind 0-2.
Well, normally Travis Wood handles the bat as well as any pitcher in the league. We've seen him hit in a Reds uniform, seen him hit in a Cubs uniform.
2 on, none out. Cubs already in front here in the second inning, 2-0. Will Wood be bunting with 2 strikes? Reds not so sure. He swings away and grounds a foul.
Not only can he hit, he can run a little bit as well. Jason Marquis here, you'd love nothing more than to have a ground ball either right at Cozart or Frazier. The way that Travis Wood has pulled the last 2 pitches, foul off to the left side.
Wood hit .232 last year. He hit 3 home runs and knocked in 10 runs. But he went around strike 3 there. That's a big out. Remind you as always, we're looking forward to our Miller Time moment coming up later tonight, brought to you by Miller Lite. Knowing Joe Maddon a little bit, 9 years manager of Tampa Bay over the American League, but between interleague play and games on television or maybe games you get a chance to do or see, he's not afraid to think out of the box. We know that. But that was set up so perfectly, even with a good hitting pitcher. I mean, he's still a 190 hitter. I'm a little surprised that he wasn't bunting. Only tried it 1 time. This kind of weather, man, you get up on a team 3, 4, 5 runs, it's tough to come back.
I think the key pitch in the entire at bat was the first pitch, taking it for a strike. Normally that's the pitch that you want to bunt.
Herrera, 42 games for the Cubbies last year. He started every game of this series. Tommy La Stella was injured. They finally put him on the DL yesterday. Mike Olt got hit on the wrist over the weekend. He has not started. 1-1 on Herrera. And all they're talking about around here is Friday the day they bring up Chris Bryant, their heralded young third baseman, the minor league player of the year last year when he hit over 40 home runs and was their best player, led all players in home runs during spring training. 2-2 on Herrera.
Well, you almost get the feeling that from the end of the minor league season last year up until this Friday, that that was the grand plan that the Cubs had all along. They did not bring him up last year for a September call-up, and they did not take him out of spring training with this club, even though he was the best hitter they had. He may have been the best hitter in spring training.
I think it's safe to say.
9 home runs. Now, granted, it's spring training, but that's still a lot of bombs.
It's a nice block there by Brian Pena, and it's 3-2. See the numbers already for Bryant in 6 games, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, their AAA affiliate in Iowa. And what he did in spring training. 425 batting average, 9 bombs, as Cowboy mentioned.
And that wasn't as though he was getting like 5 at-bats per game either. He came in some of those games and only got 2 at-bats and still hit 2 jacks.
3-2, the runners go, and a soft liner into right center field. It'll fall over. 3-0 Chicago on a single by Herrera. Scoring Castro, and Alcantara advances first to third.
Well, that looked like he hit that with a USA Today newspaper. Sometimes it's not how hard you hit it, it's where you hit it.
Well, there must be something to the first 2 innings for Jason Marquis. He allowed 3 runs in the first 2 innings before retiring 12 in a row against the Cardinals. He's allowed 3 runs in the first 2 innings here in Chicago tonight. He has a lot of work to do to keep it at 3. On the corners with 1 away. The leadoff man is Dexter Fowler.
It seems like when Marquis has tried to go down in the zone, the ball is sinking too far underneath the strike zone. And then when he's tried to ease it up a little bit, the ball's staying high and staying flat out of the zone. It's a frustrating feeling when you're on the mound trying to do that.
That one darting too low. 2-0.
And you can see the facial expression of Jason Marquis, frustrated with where the ball is coming out of his hand.
Taking all the way 3-0 is Fowler, and it's in there a strike. 3-1. Already 5 hits for Chicago. The Reds are still in search of their first base runner. This will be the 24th pitch of this inning already by Marquis, and there's only 1 out.
Bottom fell out of that one. 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and that just sunk way out, like a changeup or a split finger the way that had movement. You almost wonder if there's not a swirling effect of the wind in the ballpark. Normally when the wind's blowing in your face for a pitcher, that's when the ball's doing a lot of crazy things.
Runner going first to second, it's dribbled foul. The wind has almost shifted directions a little bit here. It was coming in from right center towards the third base dugout, and now looks to be blowing straight in from center field.
Remember pitching at Old Candlestick Park when the wind was blowing out, that meant it was blowing right into your face. That's when we threw split fingers as many times as we could throw it. It was like throwing a knuckleball up there. That baby was dancing all over the place. Plus the hitters didn't like that dirt flying up in their eyeballs.
Or trash.
Yeah. If you wore contacts at Candlestick, you were done.
That was so cool, though, you know, all through the years when you'd hear about it and see it on television, and to finally go there was pretty cool.
Freezing in the middle of summer.
Swing and a miss, throw down to second, and the runner is safe. But a strikeout of Fowler for the second out of the inning.
Got him with a changeup after a series of fastballs. See, that may have been a slider, but it had some serious downward action to it.
Well, you figured this was coming. Rizzo clubbed the 2-run home run in the first inning. You have the right-handed batting youngster Soler coming up next. In the litigious society that we live in today, there used to be a time here announcing baseball games where we referred to Soler as Spider-Man, and we could play that music, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, right? But now, not anymore. You'll be facing a huge fine and fee. Can do it.
I wonder if that's very comfortable.
Well, basically, you're in the same boat. I mean, you have.
Yeah, but I don't have it. I don't have it all the way over my nose, though. I can breathe.
You know, I wear one of those like that almost every day in the winter when I walk my dogs. When you wear them enough, you really don't even know they're on.
I don't like things over my nose and my mouth. Maybe it's because I have a little bit of claustrophobia.
I'm with you. I pull it just down below.
I got to have something where I can breathe. I don't
see. But what about his neck there? Can you wear a turtleneck?
Well, that dicky is supposed to come down underneath the shirt. He's got it pulled up so far he can't get down under there. He's a big old fella now. Might ought to get him an extra large.
It's a big out right here for Marquis. 1 ball and 1 strike. Every out Marquis has recorded has been a strikeout in the game tonight, except for the caught stealing there to end the first. Almost looked like that follow through hit Pena in the top of the head. I think it did.
Bam. Ooh. That's a wake-up call. You know that sounds like a bomb going off when that thing hits your helmet.
Still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He's got Soler in swing mode right now. You just have to trust your catcher and Brian Pena to block the ball in the dirt. But if you can put one in the dirt right on top of the plate, I believe you've got it.
No, Chris Welsh really got upset when that happened in the Cardinal series a couple of times when Mesoraco got hit on the top of the helmet on follow-throughs on the swings, and he just said that is something that should never happen with a batter.
Oh, I got it.
That's the last thing in the world Marquis is trying to do.
That just got away.
Soler appears to be fine, gets back up and walks to first. That hit batsman makes it a 4-0 game. See where he got him. Shoulder.
Front shoulder. It was headed towards the helmet. I think we've seen Marquis really having some issues with the movement on the fastball tonight. It's moving a lot. As I said earlier, when he's gone down, the ball has sunk out of the strike zone low. He tries to raise it up a little bit, and it just takes off to his arm side as that pitch did there.
Who just called up before the game today was that man. Cowboy, I know you've been impressed from time to time with Pedro Villarreal. 35 pitches this inning for Marquis, and it's not over yet. He's walked 2 batters and hit a batter in this inning.
I think this is the reason that Josh Smith was called up. This is the reason that Villarreal is here now, is if you do have a short start from your starting pitcher, you've got to have a long man that you can count on to go out there and give you a few innings without burning out your entire bullpen.
Montero struck out his only time up. 4-0 Cubbies. Bases loaded, 2 away in the second inning. And this should do it. Phillips down on 1 knee. 2 in the first, 2 more in the second. We move to the third. The Reds offense has some work to do. Inning. Each of the last 3 days, Cowboy, they're going to need another one to get back into this one, trailing 4-0.
Yeah, they have been a team here in the last 3 or 4 days where they've been able to string together those 3-run innings, and that takes a lot of consecutive hits, consecutive base runners in order to get that done. They have not done it by the 3-run home run. They've done it by stringing a ton of hits together. They'll need to do that here tonight to get back in this paper.
All right, let's see if that starts right now. Brian Pena to be followed by Zach Cozart and then the pitcher Marquis. Villarreal is taking a seat for the time being. For some of the fans who maybe didn't get a chance to see much of Villarreal, tell us a little bit about him, Cowboy, in case we do see him since he was just brought up. I know you saw him a lot in spring training.
Former starter, pitched quite a bit in spring training. The one thing that we did not know, and he did not let on about this, is that he was pitching with a torn nail off of his index finger that he hurt coming out of the game out at Talking Sticks at Salt River Fields doing a spring training game. And of course trying to make the ball club. Didn't want to jeopardize any of that. Didn't want to make any excuses, but once they realized there was blood on the baseball, it was time to get that nail fixed. It took him a while to get that done.
As I know, when you saw him from time to time last year, you liked his stuff.
Well, he's thrown the ball much better out of the bullpen than he did as a starting pitcher. That's where he is now.
Tell you what, Travis Wood has him tricked so far here tonight. 7 in a row, 4 via the strikeout.
Next up, the shortstop.
Wood has been very aggressive from the beginning of this ball game, as you mentioned earlier. A lot of strikes, a lot of fastballs. He's rarely been behind in the game.
Well, that is some kind of beard he's got working there too, isn't it? First pitch swinging, Kozoi hit that ball hard, and Solera will track it down. That ball's hit a long way now. And again, with that wind, and again, it appears now to have shifted back to be blowing in straight down that right field line towards home plate.
It seems to be a thing throughout Major League Baseball now. The beard, the scruffy look, if you will. For a while, it was the Fu Manchu. I guess after Boston, all those guys had those beards and they win the World Series. And
Soul patch.
yeah.
Did you ever have one of those?
No.
Thinking about it?
Never. Soul patch. Come on. You know, I tried to grow a mustache back when I was playing in Alaska when I was in college. I thought I was going to be real tough.
Marquis, a little flare into short left center, and up to get it Castro to win the inning. You're right, not the soul patch. When I think of the Cowboy, I think of that beret. For people who don't know, Cowboy wears a lot of berets, and they don't have them. So that's why you didn't know what that was.
Did you say beret? Oh, that'll look real good. Boots and berets. That's going to be my new theme song.
Well, that's what we mean. When Cowboy is out in, the public, in this case, eating a little chicken.
You guys didn't just throw me under the bus. You threw me under the whole wheel and axle.
It's a handsome look for you, I'm telling you.
Tell me about it. I had the tablecloth tucked into my throat.
Well, I'd tell you, the producer and director, Josh Hall, our producer, Roy Alphas, our director, Matt Sigafus, and Lauren White, our associate producers, they are really nasty to you, Cowboy.
How long have they been sitting on that?
3 days.
How long have they been sitting on that?
That is just not right. How in the world could they do this?
It's because they're answering to your every will.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Let's take the Cowboy down memory lane.
Coughlin retired. Reds on the short end of a 4-0 game. Here's Castro. He drew the dreaded leadoff walk in the second inning and scored the first of 2 runs after a 2-run home run by Rizzo in the first. Cardinals and Brewers late getting started. Don't know why. Perhaps rain. They're just in the top of the second inning. Cardinals with a 2-0 lead. Milwaukee winning in the Cardinals home opener 2 days ago.
Well,
they had an off day yesterday.
There was rain coming into St. Louis early this afternoon. I imagine that's probably what caused the delay.
Piece of hitting right there by Castro. And he will pull into second base with a 1-out stand-up double.
Well, what's the extension with the bat? His backside's heading towards the third base dugout, and he's still able to get the bat head to the baseball.
Man, he really did bail out there.
I know. But as they say, it really doesn't matter as long as you keep your hands back. Keep your hands back, you can still create some bat speed. That's exactly what he did there.
Here's Alcantara. He had the game-winning run-scoring single in the bottom of the 10th inning in the series opener. That was his first hit of the year, and until the second inning tonight, it was his only hit of the year. And he's been playing regularly. When we saw Alcantara after being brought up from the minor leagues last year, he was their everyday center fielder. And when they brought in Fowler during the offseason, Alcantara will fill in some outfield spots, but been playing second base primarily. 1-2.
It's almost like the kid they had, Emilio Bonifacio. Play pretty much anywhere you need him to play. Not a bad guy to have off your bench.
Arismendi Alcantara. He has gone swinging. 5 of those in the game now for Marquis.
Changeup. Bottom falls out of it. Started that middle end to a hitter. It looks just like a fastball until you swing.
Ball 1 to Travis Wood. He struck out his first time up. Four runs, 6 hits for Chicago here in the bottom of the third inning. No runs, no hits, no base runners so far for the Reds through 3 against Wood. I would imagine there's a real chance tonight here in Chicago along the lakefront especially that they can dip down close to freezing temperatures tonight. Game time temp 45. Wind really blowing off the lake. And the veterans come prepared.
You see both pitchers going to their mouth a lot. This is a tough night for a pitcher to get a grip on anything.
Gone swinging is Wood, and that'll end the inning. 6 strikeouts, first scoreless inning for Marquis. Reds are down by 4.
by Chevrolet. I'm Jim Day back here at Wrigley. Jackie Robinson Day, and many players took to social media today to send out tributes to Jackie Robinson, including Christopher Negron. In fact, he got a tribute of his own, and it was sent to him by Adidas. Check out the shoes that he's sporting that he put on Twitter. Adidas sent him these shoes, and they are all Jackie Robinson, a tribute to Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson played and went to college at UCLA, and there's UCLA logos all over it with Jackie Robinson insignias. The bottom of the spikes are gold-plated. Very, very cool shoes. Now, he wanted to wear those tonight, but Major League Baseball did not approve those particular spikes. Asked him what he's going to do with them. He said, I bought a house in the off-season, and those bad boys are going on the wall in my man cave next to my jerseys of Derek Jeter and Ken Griffey Jr., two of his favorite players. Very cool shoes.
And too bad he's not allowed to wear them in a game tonight, especially knowing, the idea behind making them. All right, now, you may remember last night the Reds were without a base runner through the first 3 innings. And that changed in a hurry. Billy Hamilton on a 1-1 pitch. A fly ball to center field. He had led off that 4th inning with a base hit, stole a base, scored the first of 3 runs on 5 hits against Arrieta.
Going back to those shoes for a moment, you see the logo on the shoes of UCLA. What kind of press do you think any kid would get today if he was a 4-sport letterman at UCLA or any major college as Jackie Robinson?
Well, the first obstacle would be finding a coach in any of those sports that would let him play more than one. And I mean, that's starting now all the way down to 11, 12 years old. Not everywhere, not everybody. Don't want to say that. But you know how it goes. Seems like they're looking for kids to decide and specialize in one, or you're going to fall behind in another. And I don't know how many of those guys are left. Although there was an email that was going all around the country. You saw it, Cowboy, that Urban Meyer, the 42 players that he has recruited during his short tenure at Ohio State, all but 5 of them played multiple sports their senior year in high school.
See, I believe in that. I believe in it because that's how I did it. Now, granted, just because I did it doesn't make it right, but I think having a well-rounded athlete makes all the difference in the world.
3-2 on Votto. First, we need to get into that whole debate as it pertains to the sport we're watching here tonight, being baseball, and all the conversation about our kids playing too many baseball games, and is that leading to all of the injuries we're seeing, especially in pitchers? 3-2 pitch. I know, Cowboy, where you are down in Mississippi, your son's not old enough to be playing yet, your youngest son, but they're asking some of these kids 10 years old to play 40, 50 baseball games a year. I don't have the answer. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's a lot of games for a 10-year-old.
I think it's too many.
3-2 pitch. And Votto, the first Reds base runner, quality at bat there, made Wood earn it, and Votto draws a walk.
Third baseman, Todd Frazier.
Travis Wood has not thrown a pitch up until now in this game out of the stretch position, and frequently you'll see a guy maybe drift with their control a little bit. Frazier hits this ball a ton, but on a night like tonight, we brought up earlier, that's where fly balls go to die.
And Frazier immediately looks right back into the first base dugout as if to say, wow. He hit that one on the screws.
Hitting next for the Reds, the second baseman, Brendan Phillips.
The winds of Wrigley Field. Oh, they can be your pal but they can be your worst nightmare.
It depends on where you're standing, at the plate or on the mound.
And naturally, Frazier, like us, is probably looking up there at those flags right now and saying, oh, now the wind stops. And there's the Reds' first hit of the game. Brandon Phillips shoots one into right field. 2 on now from Marlon Byrd. Reds with a chance to get on the board here in the 4th inning.
Fastball up and out over.
Marlon Byrd.
Phillips just stays right with it. Hey, Brandon's got a pretty good swing going right now. Well, you'd like to really steal one right here with a couple of outs.
A little tardy on a fastball there is Byrd, down a strike. Marlon called out on strikes, his only time up tonight. Wood has thrown a first pitch strike to every batter he has faced in the game. 14 of 14. That's a good recipe for success. Castro just in time to get the force out. Brandon giving a safe sign. The umpire says no. Reds strand 2. And Brian Price is going to look into his dugout and wait to hear from Rob Coughlin. Apparently he says no, not worth the challenge. You take a look as we go to break. Reds trail 4-0. Celebrating 13 years. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. 4-0 ball game. The Cubbies getting 2 in the first, 2 more in the second. And they bat here in the 4th inning. 9, 1, and 2 in the order. Hit hard, but Hamilton right there. 1 out.
Hitting next, the center fielder, Dexter Fowler.
looping liner this time. Off the bat, a Fowler drops in there, a strike. Every weeknight, we invite you to join MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1. Highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins from around the league. Cowboy was on there on Monday. MLB Whip Around weeknights at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Cubs wearing the number 14 on their jerseys this year. Many of you know exactly what that's all about. For those of you that do not, Mr. Cub Ernie Banks passed away on January the 23rd of this year. The greatest Cub in franchise history and one of the truly wonderful ambassadors and kind gentlemen who ever graced this earth. He passed away to Tapper. And the Reds don't get an out.
Looked like Votto tried to backhand it. Trying to be a little bit too quick to turn the ball towards second. Normally with Phillips coming behind him, he'd have been able to handle it, but the ball caromed off the glove of Votto and sent Phillips in the opposite direction.
Cubs now with a chance to add to this 4-0 lead on just nothing more than a roller in the infield. And now the batter Soler with a count of 1-0. Ernie Banks was a 14-time National League All-Star. 2 times the National League Most Valuable Player. One and one on Soler. He is the Cubs' all-time leader in games, at-bats, extra base hits, total bases. Sammy Sosa passed him in home runs. RBIs, hits. What a career. What a guy. Won the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2013. For those who have made an especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interest of the United States, world peace, cultural or significant public or private endeavors. He was every bit of that. 2-1. 3-1.
Not sure that there's too many players that appreciated playing the game as much as one Ernie Banks. Enjoyed it, loved it.
Three and one on Soler. Full count. And those Cubs had played together, and they have 3 Hall of Famers that were on the same team of those clubs in the 1960s. And, you know, they knocked on the door to reach a playoff so many times. 69, the huge collapse over the final 2 months of the season, especially the last 4 weeks. There's ball 4 to Soler, and they're loaded. And the only one still living. 3 years ago, our dear friend Ron Santo passed away, put into the Hall of Fame after his passing. Ernie Banks, a Hall of Famer, and the one who's still here and with us and very much healthy. Thank God for that. I had a chance to talk to him for a long time on the field the other day. The great Billy Williams. What a guy. Sweet swinging number 26. But boy, he misses his friends. We talked at length about that on Monday afternoon. Straight up in the air. Hamilton coming in. It's going to be a long throw. Here comes the runner. Throw cut off, and the air across the Reds. It's 5-0.
Looks like the Reds have gotten Burke Badenhop up down in the bullpen now. Villarreal earlier. Villarreal obviously was going to be the long man here tonight.
Now Coghlan. This is by far the Reds' largest deficit of this season. Of their first 8 games, 5 have been one-run decisions. They've played 3 extra inning games. Their largest deficit prior to right now is when, for 8 innings in a 2-1 game against the Cardinals in which they trailed, St. Louis scored 2 runs on that Saturday in the 9th inning and won the game by 3.
More times than not here in the early going, the Reds offense has been more than up to the task of putting enough runs on the board to win.
Hamilton camps underneath the fly ball by Coghlan, an unearned run in the inning. We go to the 5th, and the Cubs lead 5-0. Wise is very much in the driver's seat. Brought to you by Kia. Well, against everybody else inside the division, they have had their way with Travis Wood. Now, the Reds have had their way in terms of winning games, 5-2 against them. But look at that ERA last year.
Look at the ERAs of the other clubs.
Sure.
That's what is drastically striking.
Well, he's working on a 1-hit shutout through the front 4 here tonight. Long way to go in this one, though. 5-0 Cubs in front. On this chilly night in Chicago. Steal right 1 to Jay Bruce, followed by Pena. And then Zach Kozak. Cowboy brought his scarf, brought his gloves, hand warmers. He packed in his suitcase.
I ain't playing.
Cruz drives one into deep center field. Stepped in front of the warning track. Fowler has it one away. Cowboy, I am very proud of you. You come to the cold weather, and of course you live down there in Mississippi where it's pretty nice, and then you're out in Arizona where it's really nice. And
we don't have it like this, man.
You got the scarf going, kind of, got the Soler look going. Pull that all the way up. Give everybody a look at home. And Cowboy as Jorge Soler.
That's the Batman look. I'm warm, I'll tell you that. That's all that matters right now.
Now, do you have the hand warmers again in your sport coat?
No, I didn't.
Pockets?
I don't need them with this big jacket. But I forgot that thing last night. I had to put the hand warmers inside the breast pockets of my jacket. I don't like being cold.
No. Jim Day, how are you hanging down there?
I'm not going to fib, Tom. I'm cold. It's cold down here, and the wind is whipping. It's kind of swirling. 1 minute it'll be blowing in your face, and the next minute it'll be turned around. So it's something to deal with down here for sure.
And you're not wearing an overcoat, right, Jim?
I just put it on for the first time in the series. I just broke down and put it on.
Is my sister sitting behind you down there?
The lovely Dawn is indeed right beside me, Tom.
I have not had a chance to see her yet tonight, and I thought that's what Cowboy told me, that she was sitting right behind you down there. There's strike three to paint.
Yes, it's a who's who down here. We've got
Dawn and her husband Chris are down there, right?
Yes, alongside Mr. Singrani. He's back here for another stay. So.
Well, my sister's talking to one of their relatives, I guess, here, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it's all good. She's told me a lot of secrets about you from your childhood.
She would know a number of them.
Some I can't tell on the air.
I would argue most. Two down in the inning, and here's Zach Kozak. The first ball, one count to a batter. To start an at-bat by Travis Wood tonight. He had thrown a first pitch strike to every Reds hitter until Kozak with two down and nobody on here in the fifth. Wood was not guaranteed a job in this starting rotation going into spring training. In fact, there are some that will tell you they thought he was on the outside looking in up against the competition that he was facing going into this spring.
And that's after making the All-Star team in 2013. But you saw the numbers last year, 8-13 with a 5+ ERA. That'll throw up some red flags.
Kozart has the base hit, the second of the night for the Reds. And Marquis is going to bat.
Schumacher.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, hitting for the Reds, Steve Schumacher.
Marquis goes 4 innings tonight, allows 5 runs, 4 earned. He walked 3 in the game tonight, struck out 6, and allowed 7 base hits. One on, 2 out for Skip here in the top of the 5th inning. Strike 1.
Reds working a little short on the bench without Devin Mesoraco here. Makes you a little short on guys that you can bring off the bench to pinch hit. Chris Dominguez no longer here. So the only right-handed hitter you got is Christopher McGraw.
Schumacher gone swinging. 5-0. Wood and the Cubs in front. By your local Ford dealer, Ford Go Further. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranking 3rd in the country on the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. Here you get a look at Tribune Tower, right across the Chicago River. It's a Wrigley building there on the left. Beautiful. And that bridge is the start of the magnificent mile, what is Michigan Avenue. You spent $1 or $2 there having a Cowboy.
That's the shopping district. Have I spent $1 or $2? You ever heard my belt story?
Your belt story?
Yeah, you ever heard my belt story?
No. Berg Badenhop now taking over on the mound for the Reds. They're down 5-0. Do tell.
Playing with the Giants. Put on my suit. Getting ready to go downstairs and realize I didn't have a belt.
Base hit left field by Starlin Castro.
So I walk across the street to a very popular men's store. Grab the first belt right inside the door because the bus is about to pull out from front of the hotel. Grab it, threw it up on the counter along with my credit card. Grab the belt, tore the tag off of it, put it on right there at the desk. Signed the paper, flipped it back to him, shoved the receipt in my pocket, went and got on the bus. Game's over, came back out and looked down, $425.
Come on.
Rushed me. Yes, true story. $425, solid alligator.
Was that made of gold?
It was made alligator. I think I still got it somewhere.
You better still have it. You better have it trained to shine your shoes.
No kidding. I couldn't believe it. I looked down, I thought, is that a misprint? $425. That guy couldn't get me out of the store fast enough.
Oh, man. Pena will get the out at first. Well, he came springing out from behind the home plate area.
Well, he barehanded the ball as he came out from behind home plate. It looked like Pena was going to go to second and then realized the speed of Castro was not going to allow him to go that way, and he had to change direction in a hurry, and he almost did not get Alcantara.
Joe Madden saw what you just saw. Ball was in Votto's glove just before the front part of his foot hit the bag. He will be credited with a sacrifice. $425.
Can you believe that?
Holy Moses.
For a belt.
I mean, look, I didn't fall off the cart yesterday, but I didn't know they made a belt that expensive.
Yeah. Well,
there are other things I understand.
Neither did I up until that point.
In the air, Votto and foul ground for out number 2.
And the sad part about it is if we hadn't have been leaving that day, I'd have taken that sucker back in there. I meant to get that other belt, that $4.25 one.
Two down in the inning. And here's Herrera. RBI single that he dumped over the head of Brandon Phillips back in the 2-run second inning. And then a line drive right at Billy Hamilton his last time up. Baden Hopp on a relief of Jason Marquis. We invite you to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. An off day tomorrow. And we will be staying in the Central Time Zone, which means once again Reds Live will get started at 7:30 Eastern Time on Friday night before Johnny Cueto v. Michael Wacha. Game coverage starts at 8 o'clock. A 2:15 Eastern Time game Saturday afternoon.
That'll be Homer Bailey's first down.
And then a rare Sunday night game at 8:05.
It's pretty good matchups in that. For the first time that the Reds have had their top 3 starters in order.
Yep, Cueto, Bailey, Lee. Got some serious hair Cueto's got working in it.
No doubt.
His is growing longer. Mine's falling out.
Mine is too. It's just part of it.
Two and two on Herrera. Shallow center. Hamilton waits and the inning is over. So Baden Hopp works a scoreless 5th. Reds need to get it going, trailing by 5.
Reunion of the 1990 Wire to Wire Championship team. as all fans will take home a commemorative print. Plus, members of the team, including Barry Larkin, Chris Sabo, Eric Davis, and many more, are subject to appear during post-game festivities on the field before a spectacular fireworks show. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/tickets. I'm Jim Day. You see Jackie Robinson insignia on all the bases on Jackie Robinson Day. He was one of my idols growing up and still one of my idols to this day. But one thing that I do like to mention on this day is Larry Doby. On July 5th, 1947, he made his Major League debut with the Cleveland Indians and broke the color barrier in the American League and went through the same things that Jackie Robinson did. He also wore number 42, and on this day, I think we should salute him as well.
Indeed. Well said and well thought out, Jim Day. Billy Hamilton retired for the third straight time tonight. Travis Wood is working on a 2-hit shutout. This is the rubber game of this 3-game set. Reds had game 1 right there for the taking, a 2-run lead going into the 8th inning. Comes tie the game on a Jorge Soler home run, won the game in extra innings. Reds winners 3-2 last night. And right from the get-go, Jason Marquis just not real sharp. Struggled with command. Scored 2 off of him in the first 2 batters. A double and a home run. And gave up 2 more in the second before an unearned run he surrendered in the 4th. Excuse me, swing by Joey, and it rolls to the shortstop Castro, 2 away.
I've seen Travis Wood throw that pitch a lot. He's starting it right at the hands of the left-handed batter Votto and cut it back over the inside corner, and that one looked like it fooled Votto. Doing the same with the right-handed batters. See where that ball starts. It looks like a fastball, and then it just cuts right back over the corner.
One and one on Todd Frazier. And a fastball in the inside corner is strike.
Not only is Wood throwing a shutout, he's been pitch efficient doing it. This will only be the 76th pitch of the night for this left-hander.
And he throws that one right by Frazier at 92 miles per hour, and that will end the inning. Travis Wood has been mighty impressive tonight. East collisions. The Orioles take on the Red Sox from Fenway. The Yankees will see the Rays in St. Pete. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on America's home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Manny Parra will take over for Bert Badenop, who worked a scoreless inning.
That'll flip Dexter Fowler around to the right side.
Of course, the spotlight or the microscope, whatever term you want to use, has really been shining the brightest or magnified on Kevin Gregg and Jumbo Diaz, and some of their struggles in the Reds bullpen through the first week of this year. We haven't heard as much outcry in regard to Manny Parra, but his struggles would equal those two guys, at least to start the year.
Yeah, I think when you have a few guys in your bullpen that are having difficulty, especially when you give up a lead late in the game, that's when it becomes the most obvious outcry. If those games are 7-2 and the Reds are behind and you give up a 2-run home run, there's not much made of it. But when you're winning and you give it up and it ties the game and you ultimately lose the game because of it, then the outcry becomes even louder.
Good pitch here. Jam shot roller to Cozart, gets rid of it quickly and then throws it away. It looked like he never had a handle on it. Fowler, though, is going to try to get to second, and he's thrown out. Be a throwing error on Cozart, and then 3-4. Votto throws to Phillips to cut him down, going to second base.
You know, you just wonder, as Cozart came in, you could see him putting his hand into his back pocket. Everybody's trying to keep those hands warm. But you just wonder if that had something to do with his hand just being ultimately frozen as he got to the baseball.
Now Rizzo, who hit a 2-run home run in the first inning, was intentionally walked in the second. Straight up in the air. Votto, Pena. And it drops in between them.
You could tell there was some major indecision there with Votto. Votto's instead of looking up at the ball, Votto is looking at the catcher, Pena, and nobody ever called for it, and that's not good.
Generally, when it's that far up the line, you will see the guy coming in on the ball make the call rather than a catcher who is turning completely around.
Well,
with the wind blowing tonight, though, maybe that had something to do with it.
You would like to have your third baseman or your first baseman catch those balls as they go up either line, whether it be third base or first base. But like you said, with the wind blowing, and as far as Pena went out, that created a little bit of indecision on both their parts.
Phillips will throw out Rizzo for the second out of the inning. We are in the bottom of the sixth from Wrigley Field in Chicago. It's been all Cubbies right from the get-go. 1-2-3 first inning for Travis Wood, and really he hasn't slowed down much since then. He's only allowed 2 base hits, struck out 7, only walked 1. And for the Reds, they gave up 2 in the first, 2 more in the second, 1 more in the fourth. 5-8. The runs and hits for the Cubs, 0 and 2 for the Reds. line drive, right center field, a base hit for Soler. Takes a hard turn around first, and Billy getting it back into the infield quickly. A 2-out single for the Chicago right fielder.
Well, you leave anything out over the plate to that guy, and he is hammering it. He's got that high velocity bat speed that we saw from the kid Javier Baez, but this guy makes contact with some serious consistency.
You know, from a body standpoint, he reminds you a lot of a very young Vladimir Guerrero.
Exactly. He really does.
In fact, he leads like him over there. Guerrero is one of the few players that when he took his lead would bend over and actually have his hands on his knees. And that's what Soler does. Cubs have had a hit in every inning tonight.
Soler probably has a little more girth in his upper body than Vladimir Guerrero did.
Yeah, as a young man.
Yeah.
Guerrero got bigger and stronger, as will Soler. Well, he was a great player, Guerrero.
Oh.
Great player.
He could hit that curveball on the bounce with the best of them, man. I'm telling you. And hit it hard somewhere.
There's another base hit, this time from a left-handed batting Miguel Montero. And now with the runner at second base, Pena going to make sure that he and Parra are on the same page with the signs. And perhaps double check something with a new batter. Is that Coghlan?
It looks like Matt Caesar. Now
yeah.
You can't tell. I believe that's Caesar.
It is. So a quick scouting report from Pena on Caesar. We've seen him 3 days in a row come off the Chicago bench. Every Cub in their original lineup, with the exception of the pitcher Travis Wood, has at least a hit. They got a pretty good crowd here tonight for this game. Wednesday night, cold. I don't mean chilly anymore. It's cold now. And with the bleachers closed and all the construction going on, a lot of folks here at Wrigley Field tonight. Pulled the string on him there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Frazier, a nice pickup, and wins a foot race to the bag to end the inning. Nice play by Todd. 2 hits, an error, 2 left.
FGS bringing the energy. See the first 5 ball games for Phillips. Boy, he has turned up the dial here at Wrigley. Line drives all over the place. 4 hits in game 1.
Well, you got 3 more cracks at him here. And you're down 5-0. Phillips, Bird, Bruce, and they need a lot more than that. Start making some noise against Wood. Caesar remains in the game to play left field. I would imagine, Cowboy, every time that Wood, and perhaps one of the reasons he pitches so well against the Reds, especially compared to the way he pitches against some of the other clubs in the National League, is motivation.
You hit the nail on the head. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. A team that you thought you were going to stay in the big leagues with ultimately trades you away. They took him out of the rotation, sent him down.
Castro deep in the hole, makes a nice play.
Very nice. Nice backhand stop, gets that foot firmly planted in the ground, and there's never been any doubt that Castro had a good arm.
You know, it wasn't as though the Reds did not give Wood a chance.
No,
I don't think his
did.
motivation is based out of anger or...
It's just human nature.
Sure.
You're pitching against your old team. You've got pride. There's still guys on this club that Travis played with.
And it's really a shame that, you know, what has befallen Sean Marshall, because when he first came over, I mean, he, at the time of the trade, was the best left-handed setup man in the league. When the Reds got him that first year, he was still the best left-handed setup man in the National League.
Dynamite.
But ever since then, Sean has rarely been on the mound. The shoulder problems, as Bird grounds out to Castro as well, 2 away in the inning.
Well, I can sympathize because after having the first shoulder surgery and then the second one in the following year, never the same.
It's too bad, because not only is Marshall a really good pitcher, he's also a really good guy. Always quick to say hello and a smile, always.
Without fail.
If I'm not mistaken, Marshall has made Chicago his year-round home. I think when he was here, he has stayed here, despite being a Richmond native, right?
Right.
There are not a lot of baseball players that make their year-round home in Chicago.
I know. There are a lot that go to Arizona.
There are many that go to Arizona. And that number is growing seemingly by the week. Yeah, he does make his home in Chicago. 2-2 the count. And Wood thought he had strike 3 there.
He was running to the dugout. Starts his curveball at the hands of Jay Bruce. That's the same pitch we saw him try to get Votto with earlier. That was the check swing grounder to Starlin Castro.
And Jay hits one in the air to straightaway center, and Wood just keeps right on rolling. 1, 2, 3 in the inning. They stand and stretch in Chicago. It's 5-0 Cubs.
Travis Wood was wearing a Reds uniform. That's when he made his Reds debut. On that day, he went 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and the Reds won that game 3-2. Now he's turning the tables wearing a Cubs uniform, and tonight he's a dealing. We go back upstairs. Tom and Cowboy, we got a new hurler on the mound for the Reds.
5 runs, 10 hits for Chicago. No runs, only 2 hits for the Reds tonight. And unless they can rally here over the last 2 innings, this would be back-to-back series losses after sweeping the Pirates to begin the year. Now taking over. Cowboy, you talked about him a little bit earlier. Just called up from the minor leagues today. Josh Smith was here for 2 days, never threw a pitch, and was sent back down. It's Pedro Villarreal.
And there are folks that are asking, well, why did they bring Josh Smith up? He's here for 2 days. They didn't pitch him. They sent him back down, and then they bring up Pedro Villarreal. Well, Josh Smith is normally a starter. They had him here because he was not on the 40-man roster. If you're on the 40-man roster, when you break camp, everyone is optioned to whether it's AA or AAA, and you can't be recalled before 10 days are up. Villarreal has pitched out of the bullpen. He's comfortable there. Josh Smith was a starter. They just had to have an arm for a couple of days until Villarreal could get here.
Well, this time Votto will come sprinting down the line and make the play on the pop-up. Christopher Negron takes over for Jay Bruce in right field. He'll bat in the number 9 spot as part of a double switch with Villarreal entering the game. Marquis allowed all 5 runs, 4 of those earned runs. Baden Hopp a scoreless inning. Parra allowed a couple of hits but no runs. And now it's Villarreal. Pull to Joey. He'll wave off Villarreal, and the first 2 retired.
Almost 30,000 people in the house here tonight. A lot of folks.
We got 29,205. It's the largest crowd in the series. Nice round of applause for the pitcher who certainly has earned that tonight in Travis Wood. And there's a base hit into left field by Wood. So along with a 2-hit shutout, he has a base hit of his own, the first for him tonight. And every member of the Cubs' originally starting 9 with a base hit in the game. Cubs have had at least 1 hit in every inning tonight. They've left 9 runners on base. Cardinals with a 4-1 lead at the end of 5 over Milwaukee. Mets beat Philadelphia earlier today 6-1. Miami hands Atlanta a 6-2 loss. It's been a rough start to this year for Matt Latos. First 2 starts as a Marlin. The first one was a disaster.
He didn't. I don't think he got out of the first inning.
No.
The first start.
7 runs, right?
Yes.
Number of day games all around baseball. Washington finally getting a win over Boston. A wild one there today. Angels over Texas 10-2. Cleveland behind Trevor Bauer, former #1 pick by Arizona. Boy, how many players are around baseball that are making a significant impact for their team that have been traded by the Arizona Diamondbacks in recent years? Bauer, without question, I'm not sure eccentric is the right word to describe him. He is a very, I don't know if odd is fair. He's just a very different guy.
But highly intelligent.
Very intelligent, very bright guy. The guy pitching for the Nationals that used to be a Diamondback named Max Scherzer.
Yeah. He's not too bad.
Not bad. Three and two the count on Jonathan Herrera. Pull to the right side. Votto, a nice play from his knee, throws, inning over. Phillips went diving to his left as Votto went diving to his right. Right from the get-go. First batter doubled, next batter Rizzo, 2-run home run, 2-0 Chicago. They got two more in the second. Base hit by Herrera. Soler was hit by a pitch. Got another run in the fourth, but the way this guy's going tonight, that first inning might have been enough.
Really aggressive from the first batter on, Travis Wood, and he has not let up a lick. You know, he started out throwing a lot of four-seam fastballs, and as the game moved along, he started to use the cutter even more. He used to pitch the other way, a lot of cutters early. Then as he started to get some fatigue, he'd go to the four-seamer. Changing it up a little bit here tonight.
Well, the Cubs have a few bodies stirring down in that bullpen.
It's like Phil Koch.
Travis Wood has never thrown a complete game in his major league career. Okay, with that pitch count where he is tonight,
Got a chance.
got a chance, depending on how quickly he gets through this eighth inning. Two and one on Brian Pena, to be followed by Zach Kozak and then Christopher Negron. Not over yet. Reds have had so much success in this ballpark, you never count them out. And there's a base hit by Pena to start the inning.
way you come back from a 5-run deficit is do what Brian Pena did. You have to figure out a way to get aboard and just try to string together some hits. Chris Bosio is going to give Phil Koch a little extra time as he goes out to check with his starter, Travis Wood.
We invite you to be a part of Major League Baseball's all-star action this summer in, where else? Cincinnati. Visiting the T-Mobile All-Star Fan Fest, the world's largest interactive baseball theme park. That'll be at the Duke Energy Convention Center, July 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. You have 5 days of it. Buy your tickets right now at allstargame.com. You sticking around for the All-Star Game, Cowboy?
I would like to go to the home run derby, but I've got to figure out how to get in there, because I think that my kids would enjoy the home run derby as much as they would enjoy the game.
Now, some people might be saying, wait a minute, you mean to tell me Jeff Brantley doesn't have tickets to the home run derby? The way it works is with everybody, including the Reds employees. I mean, MLB runs this thing. And so we are graciously offered the chance to buy what is called a strip. And in a strip, you get a pass to that fan fest. You get a ticket to the Futures game. You get a ticket to the home run derby. And you get a ticket to the All-Star game. And I can tell you, it ain't cheap. So you can't just go buy a ticket for you pick whatever it is. Now, maybe at some later time, but with the kind of pull you have, I mean, you'll be in some luxury suite.
You're so crazy.
You know, God bless you.
With my beret on?
That would be a very good look, although maybe something a little lighter that's got some air to it. My grandfather used to have, those hats like the golfers wear.
Little stovetop lid?
No, I don't know what the style of the hat is called, but it was made of almost like a mesh material, a little nicer than that maybe, and that would be what you should have the beret done in. And I have no doubt they make it. You might find one in Paris.
I think I'll just stick with the cowboy hat.
You'll stick with the home run derby instead of a trip to Paris?
Yeah. I don't know if this slang will go real good over there.
They would love it.
Parlez-vous français.
They would love it. Well, let's see if Cozart can get on here and maybe you start making a little noise. It's in the air down the first baseline. No one will get to this.
They've got double barrel action now. Looks like, I think that is Neil Ramirez, the right-hander throwing, and Phil Koch on the left side.
All righty, 2-1. Well, Joe Madden gave Travis Wood a chance to work through this 8th inning. The Reds a hit and a walk. Wood will exit after a brilliant pitching performance here tonight. Will be our
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Phil Koch signed to a minor league deal during the offseason, spent the last 5 years in the Tigers organization after initially coming up with the New York Yankees. Reds have 2 on with nobody out, trailing 5-0. Koch is really the only reliever in the entire Cubs bullpen that's had any damage done against him. Collectively, they have an ERA, their bullpen, of 1.5 on the year. Nice pick there by Castro, and they turn the double play. Doesn't get much better than that. Castro is having a fabulous night in the field and at the plate.
And a great turn as well by Herrera with Cozart. I mean, right on top of him. Nice diving catch. You're underhanded, and Herrera turns, has to throw right over the top of Cozart, who was right on his grill.
Center fielder, Ricky Hamilton.
Travis Wood looked mighty happy about that.
So now runner at third with 2 away, and here's Billy Hamilton.
When that ball came off the bat of Negron, it looked like it was going to be a base hit up the middle. Starlin Castro took that away in a hurry.
One you brought up earlier, they have always here at Wrigley Field, the grass is very thick, and they let it grow a little bit. Slows ground balls down, because you're right, on a lot of other infields, that baby is shooting into center field.
Yeah, I can remember fielding bunts on this stuff. You reach down, instead of just getting the ball, you're getting a handful of grass as well. If you're not prepared for it, you'll airmail that baby into right field in a hurry.
Hamilton somehow, some way, trying to just get on base and give the big guys behind him a chance. 2-1.
You look at Phil Koch when he sets out of his stretch, a very unusual set with his front foot on the toe and really towards the third base side. Now he takes his sign normal. Now watch this front foot as it moves back here. I don't know that you see any pitcher doing that.
That'll do it. Koch does a great job. Comes on with 2 on and none out with double play and a ground out.
Union of the 1990 wire-to-wire champs. Friday, all fans in attendance will take home a 1990 commemorative print, plus as many as 30 of the 1990 World Series champs. Well, they'll be honored post-game on the field before a spectacular fireworks show. We know how that goes. Thanks to Frisch's Big Boy. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/tickets. Reds have the best fireworks in the business.
Dexter Fowler to lead things off for the Cubs. He's had a good night tonight. They've had a lot of guys with a good night. I mean, they only have 5 runs. It's not like they've scored 15. But they have 11 hits. Everybody in their original starting lineup has at least a hit. Fowler has 2 of them and has scored a pair of runs. Travis Wood, 7+ tonight, 3 hits, no runs. And it looks like Koch in a 5-0 game. They have the whole half inning to get somebody else loosened up, or Ramirez back up if he was the guy up a moment ago. And it's hard to tell. We haven't seen some of these guys with the Cubs, and it's not like everybody's wearing number 42 tonight or something.
Look like Neil Ramirez.
A 4-pitch walk to Fowler. Stick around right after the game tonight and every Reds game. Right here on Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll break it all down right after the ball game. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Ramirez is back up.
And here's Anthony Rizzo. He started the scoring tonight with a home run. He hits this one right on the nose, and it's caught by Negron. You know, you get so used to the Reds playing so many tight games. This whole game just feels weird tonight.
Well, for the most part, you're used to the Reds scoring first because that's what they've done in the majority of their ball games. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. If not for some late inning blow-ups by the bullpen, the Reds would be 7-1 instead of 5-3.
And that's not one of those where you're really going out on a limb, because
they had
both of
2-run
those
leads
in the 8th inning, in back-to-back games, Saturday or Sunday and Monday. Villarreal, easy gas there. Young man's throwing the ball pretty well so far here tonight. Just brought up, and a ground ball could be 2. There's 1. How about Villarreal? I mean, you got to find a bright spot in every game no matter what. 2 scoreless innings. Cowboy, you were talking him up, and he's backing you. night. After a day off tomorrow, Johnny Cueto will get the ball for the Reds. In 14 innings this season, he has allowed 1 earned run.
He has been dealing with a capital D.
Yet he's still in search of his first win. A 0.6 earned run average, and the man who beat him, boy, did he pitch a good game on Saturday, is Michael Wacha. That'll be a night game right here on Fox Sports Ohio Friday night.
That's some serious pitching matchups right there those 3 days. So
Seven.
what would you expect going into St. Louis? You would expect nothing less.
Again, 7:30, Reds Live gets underway on Friday night from St. Louis. 1:30 Eastern times, all of these. On Saturday, and we will not have the game on television here on Fox Sports Ohio on Sunday. Here's Neil Ramirez. He's trying to get the final 3 outs tonight.
Ramirez threw the ball pretty well for the Cubs last year. Different spots. Pitched in the 8th a little bit when Strope was not available. That's some hard breaking stuff. The biggest issue for Ramirez is, as it is with a lot of young pitchers, command of the strike zone. He's definitely got some movement.
Well, he started Joey Votto at 3 balls and no strikes, and I think the training staff now wants to have a look at Ramirez.
You know, Castro noticed an issue there with that pitch that went down and into Votto. Sometimes body language can tell you everything about a guy on the mound or a guy on the field. And it appears that the manager, Joe Madden, is going to make a change here. Whoever does come into this ball game will have as much time as they need to get loose, especially on this cold night.
25-year-old Neil Ramirez, a native of Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Looks like Brian Schlitter will be coming out of the bullpen.
Here's a former #1 pick by the Rangers, and then was claimed off waivers by the Cubs 2 years ago. He will leave the game, and Schlitter will take a little bit to get warmed up. proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. And play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code PLAYNOW. We welcome one of our newest sponsors in DraftKings.com. Are you a fantasy league baseball player, Cowboy?
No. That'd be kind of unfair. I think I have an unfair advantage. They don't let me in the league. Now, fantasy football, I would do.
Really?
Yes. I'd do that in 32nd minute.
Ryan Schlitter will take over on the mound.
Yeah, I just saw something on the board here that I did not know until right now. That Wrigley Field is the only ballpark left in existence that Jackie Robinson played in. It's pretty cool.
Because, of course, in those days, there was no interleague play. And Jackie Robinson was not around when the Boston Red Sox were sniffing an appearance in the World Series.
Correct.
That ballpark is old enough for Jackie Robinson to have played in it. Of course, in Cincinnati, Jackie Robinson played at Crosley Field. Schlitter throws a strike. Devato didn't take him long to get loose. For a lot of those relievers, it generally doesn't. 3-1 Devato. And there's a walk to begin the ninth. That'll be charged to Ramirez as the pitcher came in with a 3-ball count. Reds down 5-0 as they have a leadoff man aboard here in the top of the ninth.
Looks like Joe Madden has got Hector Rondon warming in their bullpen. Just in case. Two on Todd Frazier. The Reds trying to avoid being shut out for the third time in the last 6 games they have played here at Wrigley Field. And I'm sure if you're Joe Madden, and we talked about this on Monday night, you find little things to motivate your team. One of them undoubtedly is, hey, look, this team from Cincinnati has kicked you guys all over the place for the better part of the last 5 years. Some of you were here, some of you were not. They beat the Reds in that final series, sweeping them last September here. After the Reds had just, not a little bit, they had just overwhelmed this Cub team for a long time. Now, they stole one here on Monday night, and they're 3 outs away from winning the series to begin this 2015 series. Yeah, even after being swept, the Reds still had a 60 wins out of 88 ball games against this Cubs team over the last 5 years. I mean, that's a lot of winning.
I want to thank Joe Corneo up here in the booth for his outstanding work during the 3-game series, and Ethan Cooperson, our statistician, as well. The producer of Reds Baseball is Josh Hall. Our director is Roy Alfers. Our associate producers Lauren White and Matt Sigafus. Coordinating producer of Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, Bob Pennell. And our executive producer, Mr. Tom Farmer. Frazier still alive at 3-2. This will be the 9th pitch in this at bat. Schlitter to Frazier. One out.
Now it's time for tonight's flamethrower. This is brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Not only did that ball have some heat to it, it had some sink as well.
Now Brandon 1 out of 3. And Brandon a base hit through the hole in the left field. A 2-hit night tonight for the Reds second baseman. A 4-hit night in the series opener. And had a hit before he had to leave the game here last night. It's not a bad series, 7 hits. In really 2.5 games.
Good.
Here's a guy the Reds really need to get going. Him and Bruce. They both had a couple of runs batted in the game here 2 nights ago. Each had an RBI last night. But Bird only 5 for 33 to start his Reds career. There's one. Safe the call to first. And the Reds are down to their final out.
I don't think he gets him even if he makes a strike throw to first base.
Brennan Bosch will now come up and bat for the pitcher Villarreal. And again, a nice job by Villarreal tonight. Goes 2 innings, allows 1 hit, walks a batter, does not allow a run. After being just brought up from the minor leagues today.
You have an outing in a game like this, you don't give up any runs, maybe the opportunities become more often.
Well, hey, look, I mean, there's some room now to do a few of the good things down in that bullpen.
Seize the opportunity.
Yes. I mean, you're not rooting for other guys to do poorly. You're a team. But
you just do your job when your name's called. That's the bottom line.
crowd standing in anticipation of the game's final out. This is going to do it. So the Cubs win the series. They shut out the Reds by a final count of 5-0. We'll be back in a moment.